Bond 26. Bond 26. Hut, hut, hut. Posted a short the other day. I was at a baseball game. And it made me think, what about James Bond and sports? You know, Bond doesn't really have any major sporting events in his movies. And when I say major sporting events, I mean something, like baseball, basketball, American football, or even actual football, soccer. So I started wondering, what major sporting events are in the James Bond movies? Well, I could only think of a few. So number one was sumo wrestling. Now, in You Only Live Twice, Bond meets a contact there. He gets to watch some of the sumo wrestling match with the crowd. We get to see a little bit of the match as well. And then the only other major sporting event that, or actually a couple more that I could think of, but the other one that I could think of was actually very similar to the sumo wrestling. And that was a Muay Thai match in The Man with the Golden Gun. So again, there's a crowd there. They're watching this Muay Thai match. And again, Bond is meeting a contact there. We get to see a little bit of the match happening, and as the scene is playing out. And then third, it's actually not a sporting event that involves man versus man as much as it's the horse races. So that pops up a couple of times, like in a View to a Kill and Spectre. So, in all honesty, those are the only times that I could think of an actual major sporting type event that was in a Bond movie. Now, chances are I'm going to make this video. Somebody's going to put in the comments, hey, you forgot about this. And I probably did. So if I have forgotten about a major sporting event in a Bond movie, please let me know, because I honestly, I couldn't think of it. Anyway, but then that got me to wondering this as well. Has Bond really ever played any sports himself in a movie? Well, absolutely. Absolutely, Bond has. But you want to know something? James Bond, he doesn't just play regular sports. Bond does extreme sports. First of all, we have skiing. Lots and lots of skiing. You know, it's interesting that in the books, anyway, in the Ian Fleming books, Bond had never skied before. And when he did so for the first time, it was actually in almost one of the last Ian Fleming books on Her Majesty's Secret Service. That was kind of like the only time that Bond had ever skied. In fact, M even makes reference to him saying, I didn't know you skied. And Bond's going, I didn't know either. But other than skiing, Bond did snowboarding. He did snowboarding in A View to a Kill. You know, when Bond did some snowboarding, this was a new sport, and it was just starting to become mainstream, and Bond got in on it. Now, there's a couple other type of sporting or sports, but they were more like Olympic type events. So Bond, he does a ski jump. Bond, he goes bobsledding. And of course, there's lots and lots of scuba diving.
We'll have a field crew check it out in the morning.
You know, in looking through some of this material, I started to think, I think Bond almost spends just as much time in and under the water as he does on dry land. I mean, really, Bond is in the water a lot. And then there's golf. Golf. Bond is a good golf player. So we know that. He's played golf before. Mountain climbing. James Bond has done mountain climbing on a number of occasions. Hang gliding. Bond is also good at hang gliding. Parachuting. Sword fighting. Bond has done some sword fighting. And water skiing. Well, of course, Bond's done some water skiing. Again, he's in the water. You know, it is interesting to me, however, that much time is spent, especially in the Craig movies, much time is spent by other characters talking about just how bad of shape Bond is in. Yet, the guy runs more than Forrest Gump after a breakup.
From that day on, if I was going somewhere, I was running.
yes, Bond, he runs a lot. So you know what? We need to give him a lot more credit than he ever seems to get. Bond is in way more better shape than he ever seems to get credit for.
Wow. You've taken good care of you, buddy.
So in short, no, Bond movies, they don't really put Bond in any major sporting events. You know, maybe it's too hard to film. Maybe it's too hard to edit. Maybe too many extras are involved. Or could it be, actually, that maybe they're just a little too boring for Bond? I mean, he is an extreme sportsman. So the slow-paced, the slower paced sports might actually just seem, maybe they're just a little too slow paced for the pace of a Bond movie. And you know what? I get that. And you know what? If you're thinking, wow, this sure was random, well, you're absolutely right.